I mean, hello. Welcome back, everyone. Groot, are you so excited? He's excited. I'm excited. You're excited. Welcome back, everyone. It's me again, Carson Higgins. I'm here from the future, wanting to give a shout out to the NHL Stanley Cup champions, Seattle Kraken. Okay, no, that's not true. Not from the future, but I do have a sweatshirt for a team that won't exist for a whole nother year. Don't let that get in the way of what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about this week's movie. We watched. Did you watch? We watched the craziest movie this week. I don't know if you've ever seen it before or if you've watched it yet. If you haven't, boy oh boy, get ready because we watched Nobuhiko Obayashi's 1977 film House or Hausu. And this movie is indescribable, batshit crazy, totally bonkers, off the wall, nuts, ridiculous. Everything about it is crazy, and I can't recommend it enough. It has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes and an 80% audience score, so it is a good movie. Okay, you're gonna turn it on if you haven't watched it yet. You're gonna turn it on, and you're gonna be like, "This movie's bad, right? Right? It's not. It just seems like it." It kind of feels like The Room, Tommy Wiseau's classic, or one of those like bad movies. It looks and feels like you're watching Troll 2 or something. If you don't know what I'm talking about with these movies, boy, you have some fun bad movies to go watch. But House is just, it's like if Bugs Bunny took acid with aliens and they all cracked themselves up and said, let's make a horror film in Japanese. That's like how crazy this movie is. It was Obayashi's very first film. It's his debut feature film. Here's a brief little backstory for you. Toho Studios, they made Godzilla in Japan. Okay, so they were like a big visual effects studio in Japan. And when Jaws came out and was a huge success, they wanted a Jaws. That's what they wanted. They hit up my man Obayashi and they were like, hey man, we want you to make Jaws, basically. And he asked his 10-year-old daughter what she thought would be a good idea for a scary movie. And she came up with a bunch of crazy ideas that all wound up in the movie. Let me just, before I get into what they are, let me just tell you a little bit here. So, for those of you that don't know, House is a horror film. I put it in quotes because it's not really that scary and it doesn't seem all that often like it's trying to scare you. Um, on the Criterion channel where I watched it, there is a fantastic, like 45-minute long interview with the director where he talks about making this movie and how getting it made was kind of a quite the chore. Um, but yeah, I'm getting off track because this movie is like that. Oh, I wanted to tell you this. Though it came out in 1977, did you know that us people here in the U.S. didn't really get to enjoy this film until 2009? Yeah, we can go ahead and thank the people at Criterion. I'm pretty sure if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be talking about this movie right now, and those of you that have seen it probably wouldn't have seen it by now. But this movie was a hit in Japan, even though it looks and feels like it should be shitty. The reviews in Japan at the time were not good. They kind of said this movie is crazy, but the kids loved it. Kids showed up and wanted to see this movie, and so it was a big hit in Japan. And I don't know why it took so long to come over here to the U.S. Probably because of the reviews. But there is definitely an audience for this movie. Probably more so now than ever. Uh, it's like the trolliest movie of all time. It feels like a meme, like the whole time you're watching it. Everything about it is crazy. At first, it's just a story of 7 girls who are all gonna go away together for a trip, and it's gonna be a haunted house, and all these things, all these details seem like very, I've seen that movie done poorly 100 million times, but somehow they do it in a way over here that's just crazy. All the effects that are there's so much visual effects in this film, and there was a cool thing from that interview I was talking about where Obayashi talked about cinematic reality being one of make believe, and that there was this movement, and it's very much still a thing, to make movies look as realistic as possible, having this sense of realism. But Obayashi was not interested in that. He wanted everything to look fake. He wanted it to show. I wrote it down. He wanted it to show the passion, the hard work, and the innovation involved in making the effects, not in making you think that it really happened. We don't need you to really think that these fingers are suspended in air playing a piano. I'm still going to get to some of these details, I promise. But yeah, there was a review that called it the archival cult find of the decade, which it probably is. I mean, we've watched a couple of these in this very club, and not too long ago. Like Cane River and Sidewalk Stories are both films that were made a while back and kind of had a resurrection somewhere in the teens of the 2000s. And yeah, I said earlier it's a horror film. It's really a fantasy. It's more of a fantasy film. It's a ghost story. It's not really trying to scare you all that often. At first, it's kind of trying to make you laugh. There's some really fun. I found myself cracking up quite a bit at the music, because the music almost seems like a karaoke track or something. Everything, especially in the first like 20 minutes, seems like you're in some weird like acid trip soap opera or something. And there's a couple parts where it almost seems like the music and the film are competing for your attention. I don't know if that was just a mix thing or if it was on purpose, but so much of the craziness of this film is on purpose that I kind of feel like it has to be. Yeah, there's no way you're gonna enjoy watching me talk about this movie if you haven't seen it. I mean, even if you have seen it, it's not really that fun a movie to talk about, to be honest, because it's like it's one of in a medium that is for your eyes and your ears, right? It's so interesting where it's like this movie is really just for your eyeballs. It's like if without seeing it, you're just not gonna have a good time. And I'm not, it's not a dig at anybody that has vision issues. This is just a weird fucking movie. But check this out. So, like I said, we have our 7 girls. Here are their names: Gorgeous, Fantasy, Kung Fu, Professor, Sweet, Melody, and Mac. And Mac is named for her stomach because she likes to eat. And Gorgeous is pretty. And Kung Fu does Kung Fu. And Professor is smart. And Melody plays all the music. And so we basically have like these Powder Puff Girls that are off to go have a horrible time at Auntie's house. While I was watching the movie, I just wrote down some of the craziest things. So here's just a rundown of some of the craziest shit that I saw in this movie. There's a cat named Blanche, and it's amazing. There's a watermelon guy that you have to see. He's the best. The shoemaker scene is so fun. There's a head in a well. Kung Fu fights a bunch of logs. Blanche, the cat I was talking about, plays the piano and sings with the aunt, who is like a succubus ghost person. Someone gets murdered by pillows and mattresses. There's there's a piano that eats somebody and then leaves behind just their fingers playing the piano. Someone gets turned into a pile of bananas. There's a bear in the noodle shop. You guys, this movie is fucking crazy and you have to watch it. It is so fun. It is so fun. And the ideas that came from the 10-year-old child, the death by mattresses, the head in the well, someone trapped in a clock, the piano attack, these were all the musings of a 10-year-old girl who thought that they would be scary in a scary movie. And luckily for us, Obayashi was like, yes, you're absolutely right, 10-year-old girl. I'm going to put all that shit in a movie. And to such wonderful effect. If you must know, this movie is like kind of a smoothie of like Beetlejuice, The Shining, and A Trip to the Moon. I say A Trip to the Moon because of like the primitive looking effects and the fantastical, just sheer imagination of it all. And then tonally, it shares some vibe with Beetlejuice, but then visually, it shares some elements of The Shining. So if you like any of those movies, you're bound to like House. And yeah, I mean, it's the weirdest episode of Scooby Doo you'll ever watch. Uh, it I mean, it's inspiring, really. It kind of makes you feel like you can go make a movie, like you can go use practical effects and have you know a house eat people and have cats that throw up bright red blood everywhere and skeletons doing little dances, and it's such a weird movie to talk about. Excuse me. I'm not even gonna talk anymore. I'm not. I'm done. I'm just gonna sit here and watch you watch me. No, I'm kidding. Uh, Thanks for checking this out. Go ahead and follow us at Filmstruck Film Club on Instagram and Facebook. Please like and comment and subscribe on YouTube if right here on this video. If you're watching it on YouTube, that's what you should do. Write down. Just be like, I watched House 2. It's also fuck. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, we'll have another pick. Happy Halloween, you guys. I think this is a great Halloween movie. I think that I don't know if please don't get together with a bunch of people that you haven't seen, but maybe through Zoom or if you got roommates or something, just get fucked up and throw on this movie at night, and you're gonna laugh, you're gonna scream, you're gonna just have such a good time. Uh, it's just so worth it. It's so worth it. It took some talking into to get my mom and my girlfriend to watch this movie, but they both loved it. So if that helps any, go Kraken. Go Groot. See you next week. Happy Halloween.